who is a character actor, comedian. He used to do a lot of stand-up comedy. And he has his own cooking show. It's called Off the Cuff, Healthy Cooking with Craig Mitchell. And you can find it in a variety of different places, which I will post under the video. And I've actually been on his cooking show as a voice actor, which was a lot of fun. He came up with some really great characters for me to play, which I never in a million years would have gotten to do if Craig hadn't asked me. But there's a little funny story before this, I will tell you. We did a great interview, and he had these amazing stories about when he was on Saturday Night Live. And after it was done, I realized that I had forgot to push record. See, at this point, I'm just like a one-man or one-woman band. So I was mortified, right? And I had to text him afterwards and say, Craig, can you do it again? And luckily, he was kind enough to do it again. I still think it was a really good talk, but boy, he had these amazing stories. So he just told me some new ones, so it would be fresh. So I hope you enjoy the podcast with my friend Craig Mitchell, and it'll make you laugh like I did. Thanks. Welcome to my podcast, where I'll be speaking with guests candidly about interesting topics. So join me on Candid with Kimbra. Oh my God, Craig, it's been so long since I've seen you in person, and now I'm seeing you on camera.
But this is not in person, though.
I know, that's true. This is my life as a reality show.
This is the world since COVID.
I know, right? You were doing stand-up for a while, and then you were telling me that you don't do stand-up anymore, right?
I did stand up for about 20 years, yeah. I resurrected it in the 2016, 2017, because after I came out to the world in 2011, one of my regrets is when I originally did stand-up, I did it as a cisgender straight man. I was too afraid to be myself.
Oh.
So in 2016, 2017, I wrote all new material, and I was my genuine self on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. It was great. And I just needed to prove that. And then I stopped. I stopped again.
Really? So you just not confessed, but you came out, and then you just said, I've done what I need to do, and now I'm not going to do stand-up.
Yeah, well, also it was nerve-wracking. You really can't. It's really tough to get any kind of traction as a stand-up comedian when you're in your 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless you're extremely special. And believe I had a casting director in my car, because I mean, I'll admit it. In order to make ends meet, I drive the ride share sometimes, and I actually had a really big casting director in my car.
You did?
I did, and she told me, she volunteered it, and I go, well, I'm an actor. I go, I'm not working a lot right now. And she looked at me, goes, yeah. She goes, you're the wrong sex and the wrong color to be working.
Oh.
That's what she said to me. I was like, whoa. I go, but I'm gay. And she went, yeah, that's not enough.
You're like, dang.
Like, boy, howdy, she's right. But no, it was really fulfilling to come out and just to be me on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I did get some paying work,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't want to go through the whole process again of starting from scratch and competing for time. And the open mics in Southern California are terrible, because basically you go up on stage and there's like 12 people in the audience, and they're all the other comics waiting to come on.
Wow.
And so the later you go on, the less people in the audience, and it's no way to judge. So when I entered several competitions, and I practiced in front of the mirror. I could tell what's funny.
With your brush. No, I'm kidding.
With my brush. Yeah. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? What's going on? It's great to see you here tonight.
Well, but no, you're an actor too. Did you actually study acting, like in an acting class, or did you only study improv?
I didn't study acting until I was 46, even though I was auditioning and doing stuff before that. The first class I ever took was an improv class with Ron House. Ron House is a very, very funny man. He was part of this group called the Low Moan Spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
And they did movies like Bullshot Drummond, and I saw a special they did on Showtime called Footlight Frenzy. It was a play they did at the Pasadena Playhouse like in 1980, and they filmed it for TV. And I fell in love with what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
I was still in New York, and I saw that he was in backstage. I saw that he had an improv class, so I took it.
Hmm.
And this is before I did stand up or anything, and I had such a blast with it. I do so good with it, and he encouraged me to. I started stand up, and mainly because of him. It was fantastic. So that then I did stand up for 20 years, and I did acting. I did a lot of community theater, and um,
I just remembered I saw you in a play. Remember in Thousand Oaks?
oh my God, you saw To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes.
I played Bob Yule,
Yeah, it was a good production.
the racist bastard.
Yeah, I know, I know. And that was out in Thousand Oaks. Yeah, I'll never forget
Yeah,
that.
I did. I see. I got to say the N word about 4,000 times. I hated that,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I
but
was
but I had to get over that. I had to act like I liked it. Oh, it was rough.
every
Oh,
night you wash your mouth out with soap.
no. Well, here's the thing. I mean, there was this beautiful actress who played, who was African American. I had to walk up to her and say, "You're just a blah 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 N word," right
Right.
to her face. And I said, Craig, you can't do it halfway. You got to act like you mean it.
Sure.
I remember when I did it. Every time I did it, the audience went, "Oh!" I felt bad, but I felt good. I felt bad about what I was
So
saying.
bad it was good.
I felt good that it worked.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember I had a whole black family come up to me after the show, and they're like, "We hate you."
they did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I went, "Sorry." He goes, "No, you were good, but we hate you."
Well, I wonder if you could do, I mean, can you do that play now? I mean,
Sure,
really? Because
sure.
do
Why
you know that?
not?
Well, do you know that book's been banned in a couple places, believe it
I
or
don't. See, I don't believe in book bans, but
not? Oh, me
I
neither.
don't. I
Totally.
know they booked Tom. They banned Tom Sawyer too. It's just ridiculous. It's To Kill a Mocking. Not even taking Tom Sawyer out of the equation. That's just how it was in the 1880s. That's or 1870s. I mean, but To Kill a Mockingbird is the absolute antithesis of racism.
Yeah.
The moral of the story is how bad racism is.
Right.
And spoiler alert, if you don't know this 70-year-old piece of work, my character gets killed by Boo Hadley in the last scene because I'm a racist.
Right. Right. Right.
Hmm.
So the moral of the story is it's not good to be a racist.
That's really the whole thing. But no, yeah, no, I really don't like doing drama.
Really? Why?
I like to be funny.
You
I'm
like,
not one of those actors. I'm not one of the, like. Okay, I'm going to pick on somebody. Then, well, Adrian Brody.
okay.
I only pick roles that will nourish and enhance what I'm saying to my audience. And
Mm.
I'm like, shut up. That's how I feel. I like to have fun on stage, and I like to see people smile and laugh. Do I want to do Shakespeare? No. Well, maybe Taming of the Shrew. I love that one.
Yeah.
But I want to do something funny. I don't want to do something dour and damp and dark. I don't want to do that. I want to be funny. And I would imagine some people would say I'm not an artist because of that. I don't care.
Because you
That's
don't want to do the dramatic side. You're not into the dark, drama. Drama's.
early when I was younger. I wanted to do it to see if I could do it.
Hmm.
I wanted to see if I had the chops to do it.
Right.
But now I don't want to waste my time. I want to do something fun.
No, I know what you mean because when I first started acting, I was studying acting at Lee Strasberg Theater Institute as a teenager, actually. There was a teenage program. My dad knew one of the teachers, and
Did you ever meet Lee?
no,
Uh,
he might have been deceased by that point, but he was in New York, I was in
he
Hollywood.
died. I think he died in the '80s. But
Did he? I have to look it up. But he wasn't around because he was in New York and I was in LA, but he might have been deceased at that point. Yeah.
okay.
So what was I gonna say? But anyway, it was super, heavy, leaning in on the dramatic plays and things, of course, right? And it was sacrilegious. Nobody was supposed to do Brando, until it was deemed, worthy. But I remember I used to see all these intense scenes, right? And people just to get into to the mood, right? All the exercises you had to do, and it was like at the time when I was a teenager, it was like a torture because I was like, I was from Orange County. I was like, I don't know any bad experiences, And so, I mean, to get into that point where you're supposed to be, the steps that you have to do with the method, right? Anyway, fast forward, I did acting, short films, plays, things like that. And then one day I discovered comedy, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so fun. And it doesn't take a pound of flesh for me to get to that place because it's all reaction for me.
I'll also submit this. I believe comedy is harder.
Yes,
I
I
think it's easier to be mean and nasty and scream.
right.
I mean, there's another level. There's another gear in drama, to be perfect. I don't want to diminish any. Like
Sure.
my latest acting teacher, Bill Smitrovich, he is somebody I have so much admiration for.
Hmm.
If you don't know Bill, I think his highest profile work he did was in 1990. He was on a show with Patti LuPone called Life Goes On. He was
Hmm.
the father to Corky, who was a kid with Down syndrome.
Hmm.
Show was on for 3 years on ABC. He also has been in Independence Day and Air Force One, and he's also coming out. He's in the new Joker movie coming out.
Oh.
Judge, but he is the most amazing actor I've ever seen. Because we were talking one time, I said, "Well, how do you do this?" And he just dropped his face and he did the line like a serious. I'm just looking at him like because he just it just boom, and he was like, "I'll tell you something," and I went, "Whoa!" He was he just transformed himself, and I went, "I give up. I can't act. There's no way I can ever do that." He's an amazing actor, but one thing he did for me is we had a scene where we had to cry.
Mm.
It wasn't a scene. He wanted us to improv something. He wanted us to actually cry. And I said, never cry. I can't do it. I can't fake cry.
Mm.
But he said, pick something in your life that was sad, use it. And I actually picked my cat passing away.
Yeah, I miss
And I
that.
did the scene and I was blubbering. I mean, tears rolling down my face. It's the first time this ever
It
happened.
worked. It worked for you.
It did work. Yeah, he's an excellent actor, a fantastic teacher, and he's a good friend. And he's a Met fan. Let's go, Mets.
I know. For me, when I was doing, I'll never forget. I had this one play that I was doing. I was supposed to be committing suicide at the big finale. I was going to commit suicide, right? So I'm backstage and like listening to all the super sad music because that's what I used to
Oh
use
my
all the time.
gosh.
I'm like, and then the suicide scene was in the dark, right? So nobody could really see it. So I could have just phoned it in and nobody would have known. But I was like, I'm a method actress. I'm going to really feel this.
Yeah, I've worked with method actors. Well, hey, what works for them, but I'm not like that. As a
Um,
matter of fact, I remember me and my friend Tom, we used to do shows, and we're both pretty much the same. We can be laughing and joking, and our cue can come up, and we can walk out stage and be in character. That's how we are. But this girl's name was Addie. I won't give her last name.
hmm.
Yeah, I am going to give her last name, Addie Daddio, because it's a
That's a
fun name
name.
to say. Yeah,
Addie Daddio?
Addie Daddio.
What a
I
name.
love that name. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was very, very, very skilled, and she was very, very, and she'd be like, and we would be goofing around, right? And she'd be looking at us like in horror, and then our cues would come up and go, "That's right," and we go out there, and it's like, "How do you guys do that?"
That's the best though. I mean, I know there's always that conflict, like people make fun of like what is it, Christian Bale, like that, he gets so into it, right? Like, shut up! Like if he hears anything in the corner, right? And then some people just are like they turn it off and turn it off. It's two different styles. Like I don't judge, like whatever works for you,
Bill is like that, man. I mean, I've never told him that. After this is over, I'm gonna text him on either by his phone. I'm gonna say, listen, you're amazing.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. Maybe he'll throw me some money.
He,
And
he's here in LA. He's a teacher.
yes, he was actually talking about teaching again. I'm not sure if he's going to do it.
Hmm.
It's great because you're learning from somebody who's still active in the business.
Yeah.
He's pretty. Yeah, I mean, The reason why we became friends is Facebook suggested we be friends, and I'm like, oh, I love that guy, and he said something like, "Let's go Mets." I'm like, he's a Met fan because I'm a huge Met fan, and I friended him, and we started talking about the Mets, and then one thing led to another, and like 5 years he goes, "Hey, if I taught an acting class, would you come?" I'm like, "Sure," and
That's awesome. That's
he's a
awesome.
really good teacher. But I say he doesn't have, he's not teaching right now.
Yeah.
My other teacher was Dwayne Whitaker. He was in Pulp Fiction.
Oh, really? What
Yeah,
part?
he's the guy, and he's the guy with the ponytail and the pawn shop. That guy, the
Oh,
beard.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually. If you're interested in him, if any of if you or anybody is interested in taking lessons with him, he still has a class in North Hollywood.
Wow. So, yeah, a good teacher is just the best. I find I told you this before, this guy, Madison Mason, for a little bit. He's a character actor. And we just had like this small little theater that he rented. And just getting up and doing it for me was like the best experience because it was like a real small class, like 8 people. And so you got to work a lot. And I just feel like to me, that's the most important lesson was just doing it all the time, because you can take in any information, but if you're not like getting up and doing it, at least for me, I have to get up and do it.
Well, I took lessons with Dwayne for 10 years, and it's really interesting how one thing leads to another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After doing it for he would write scenes, his own brand new original scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But how many could he do? Eventually, I think one time he handed me a scene from
Gigolo.
American Beauty. American Beauty.
Oh, I'm kidding.
Would you say?
American
Would you say
Gigolo.
American what?
I said American Gigolo.
That's actually would have some scenes in it, like him and Lauren Hutton and
Yeah,
Richard Gere. That would be interesting scenes. But no, it was American Beauty, and I know that movie inside and out. I'm like, it's really tough for me to put my own spin in this when it's so burned into my head. And he goes,
Mm-hmm.
"So why don't you write some scenes?"
Mm.
So I started writing scenes, and I kind of had a knack for it.
Yeah.
And in the 10 years, I wrote over 900 scenes.
Wow.
He still uses them in his class. Um, One of them got turned into a movie.
I think the writer was born, for you. I mean,
Well, now that I have my own cooking show,
plug, plug.
it's called Off the Cuff Healthy Cooking with Craig Mitchell. I now do there's a comedy scene or a comedy sketch in each episode, and I didn't know that writing all those scenes was preparing me for this. It's
Yeah, it's like, everyone always says that everything happens for a reason, but, sometimes it does.
it did, and it's I'm like I'm going to be filming a scene tomorrow with my friend Dale, who I met in Dwayne's class. He's a very funny guy, good actor. But he's got a gigantic, like Bushman beard. He's like this big. He looks like he's one of the Duck Dynasty people.
Oh, okay, got it.
Huge beard, but he's big too. He's big framed like me. I'm fat. He's big framed, and
They used to call it big boned. He's big
yeah,
boned.
big. No, my bones are covered in fat. Anyway, I bought him a big white robe. He's going to play a godlike person, and I'm going to have a bug cloud background and stuff like that. Which is going to be a lot of fun that I get to play around with, So we're filming that tomorrow.
In your kitchen and off the cuff.
No, yeah, off the cuff. No, we're shooting it in my living room. I have a green screen that pulls down,
Oh,
and
I
we
didn't
shoot.
know that.
I'm going to shoot in front of it. It's going to be clouds because I'm going to be in heaven, I guess.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome. So,
yeah.
as we were talking earlier, and I was on your show, Off the Cuff, Healthy.
Twice.
Yeah, twice. I keep forgetting I was on that second time. First time I played the irritating neighbor, right?
No, you weren't. We were irritating you. We were at 6 in the morning.
Oh,
And me and this other guy are screaming off my balcony, and you go, "Hey, you guys talking about breakfast?"
are you guys having breakfast?
Yeah, we're diabetics. I'm making a low-carb sausage, egg, and cheese on a biscuit.
Good for you. Morons! Now will you shut the hell up? It's 6 in the morning.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Boy, what a sourpuss.
I heard that. Yeah, and like I was saying,
Please shut up at 6 in the morning.
I was was saying earlier that, you gave me this very specific thing. I want, off of the TV show, The Big Bang Theory, I want that irritating mother sound.
Yeah, it was good. It worked. That was an interesting sketch to do because I had to film my part
Yeah.
the early morning. So I want, because my balcony, I shot on my balcony.
Mm-hmm.
What I basically do is I go out with a cup of coffee in my robe. I'm like, what a beautiful morning.
Oh, what a beautiful morning.
And I start singing and people shoot me. No, that's not it. And I go, hey, America, what do you want for breakfast? And I scream it off the balcony. And the guy goes, what do you got? And we start talking about what we're going to eat. Then you go, hey, you guys talking about breakfast? And I'm just taking the camera, looking at trees and houses. There's no people. And the thing is, I really shot it at 6 a.m. so I can get the sun, the early morning look. So I had to mouth the words and then do ADR because I couldn't scream out.
Yeah, that's true.
In the morning. That was an interesting shoot, but you were great in that.
Yeah, thank you. So the show's been on, you were telling me before, like 7 seasons? Is it 7 seasons?
I'm actually in the process of filming my 3rd episode of the 7th season. The 7th season debuts on November 3rd, Sunday, November 3rd.
And where can we find this infamous cooking show?
You can find it everywhere. You can find it on YouTube, but you should look under the Strong Island Entertainment. It's part of their roster of shows. They have all my shows I've done with them there. It's right now I think it's 35 half-hour episodes. Mm-hmm. You can also find it on Facebook, on the Roku app too. Just download the Strong Island Entertainment app. Mm-hmm. And on Facebook, on my Facebook, I have all my episodes. I have 120. I think right now it's 123 episodes. My 3 new ones aren't there yet, and you can go back to the beginning episodes, which are absolutely horrible.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me that, and I was saying, yeah, you're on my beginning episodes.
yeah, but mine. When I did my first show this year, the show was hot chicken. I'm doing low carb hot chicken. It came out really good. But I did to start off the show is I show a clip of my very first show. Mm-hmm. And the stark difference is incredible because there was no microphones, no lights. I was using an iPhone 6E. I was wearing a Batman shirt. Now I have, of course, the chef's coat.
Yeah, merch.
Yeah, with this logo on it and and this logo on it. But it was just so bare bones, and I did it because I had success in fighting my type 2 diabetes, and people were saying, "Dude, you should write a book." I'm like, no, I want to be funny because I was getting all my recipes by going on YouTube.
You told me, yeah. Yeah,
I'm getting a lot of really good recipes, but the people that were doing it, like, here's how you have low carb chicken parmesan. You take the chicken and you dip it in the and I'm like, just fall asleep. And I go, I want to do that, but I'll be entertaining.
Right. And
so I did it. And if you look back at my early episodes, here's what you get. Hi, this is Craig Mitchell, and here's how you make low carb pork chop. Like I do get better though. So
I know it's so true. The first couple of episodes, I think I saw one, and you were a little bit on the nervous side.
Not so much nervous, just bad. I think at worst I can be personable. Mm-hmm. But it just wasn't smooth. It's really amateur hour. But the thing is, it was a learning process, and now it's a whole new ballgame.
And how much weight did you lose from changing your diet? Just out of curiosity.
It's not polite to ask a fat guy how much weight he's lost. Actually, it is. I'm sorry. I was about 400 pounds on September 8th, 2016.
Okay.
And by February of 2017, I was like 320.
Wow.
And now I'm about 280, 285. I've kind of stayed here for a number of reasons. One is I cheat. But I'm stopping that now. But no, my doctor says this is where my set point is, and I have to work to get over that hump. I'm working on it right now. So
What did you call it? Your step point?
your set point.
Okay.
My body feels this is where I should belong,
Mm,
and you really have to lower your calories and increase your exercise. But I have 3 herniated discs in my back, and after I walk about a quarter mile, I'm done.
right, right.
So I have to really do a calorie deficit to lose the weight, and I'm working on it. I stopped all sugar again. I mean, I always have, but I was cheating with like potato chips and stuff. I had to stop everything and go really eat clean for in type 2 diabetics, and
You're
I
like,
am.
I love potato chips too. I just love the crunch, you know?
I would, I'm like Richard Simmons. I would wrestle a nun to the ground for a potato chip.
I know.
Used to see Richard Simmons used to say, "I would wrestle a nun to the ground for an M&M."
Oh my gosh.
One of my favorite lines.
Oh, I know. So besides the cooking show, you had that other show that we were talking about earlier that you were on a,
Yes, it's called Law and Order. We've done 22 seasons. I'm very tight with LL Cool J. And no, wait, that's not right. That's not me. I'm on TikTok, and about 8 months ago, I started something called 10-second jokes.
right,
And it's just I'm always writing jokes. Things pop into my head, and I want to do something where every day I had to come up with a joke that was 10 seconds or less,
right.
original, nothing. Here's the format. Here's one I did recently. I'm like, 10-second joke time. So I asked my doctor if I have a dad bod. He looked at me and went, "You've got everybody's. You got your whole family." I screwed up my own joke.
Okay, let's take 2. Let's do the next one.
The 10-second joke time. My sex life is terrible. Even my inflatable doll wants to see. I'm a recovering alcoholic, recovering opiate addict, recovering bulimic. That's actually true. I'm a newly diagnosed type 2 diabetic, and I'm gay. But you can call me the total package. I used to love that opening. Of course, I would say it a lot more smoother when I had it memorized.
But I do want to ask you about the Saturday Night Live skits again, because I didn't know that you had been on Saturday Night Live. I guess it was when you were living in New York, right?
Yeah. I lived in New York until 2001, and in the 80s, I was trying to get. Back then SAG and AFTRA were 2 different unions, and
Right,
you could buy your way into AFTRA. $1,000 you're in AFTRA.
right,
Great. And then the goal at that point is to get a job in SAG or
right,
under 5 in a SAG production, and then you could buy your way into SAG,
right.
because getting into SAG was the big deal. So I was sending out hundreds of postcards every month to
Mm,
all the soap operas, to David Letterman, to Saturday Night Live, anybody who did anything in New York. I was sending the postcards out, hoping they would, and I would say I'm available for background extra under 5s, whatever. My headshot. In '87, I got called in by Saturday Night Live, and they came in. "We have an audition for you at Saturday Night Live. Can you come in?" They gave me the address. I went to 30 Rock. I walked in. I actually walked onto the stage. Is it 9H? I think it's 9H. I walked in, and there's the whole set that I've seen my whole life. And these 2 guys in sweatshirts and jeans come up to me and go, "Hey, can you read this?" And I go, "Yeah. Sorry about the shirt. Everything else is in the wash." And they go, "Thanks," and they walk away. I'm like, that was weird. Why would they do that? And then a woman came over and she goes, "All right, we're going to take you to the green room now, Craig." I'm like, "Well, I have to audition." He goes, "Oh, that was it. You got it." I'm like, "That was my audition? What do you do?"
If they could all be so easy, right?
It was, and I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure because it's almost 40 years ago now, that it was Robert. I'm pretty sure it was Robert Smigel, for sure. That's the guy who does Triumph, the dog.
Right.
Triumph. I think pretty sure it was Robert Smigel and Conan O'Brien.
Because you said he was a tall, redheaded
Yeah.
guy, right?
Yeah.
You had a couple. You were on there a couple times, right?
I was on 3 times. That time was with Bill Murray. We did the scene for the dress rehearsal. When you do a dress rehearsal their dress rehearsals are 2 hours long. They film it in front of an audience,
Right.
and then they cut out a half hour that don't work or doesn't work as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put that on the air. My sketch that I did with Bill Murray in that show was defense. he was a defense lawyer. He was defending me, but he also he's a frustrated magician.
Right.
He's using magic to kind of prove his point. Like he was pulling, cards out of John Lovitz's pocket and stuff like that. And at the end, to defend my innocence, he was going to dip himself in a straitjacket into a tank of water. And they bring the tank onto the set in a forklift. But when the tank came out, it broke the top of the set. So they cut the scene from the actual live show. But I still performed it, and I ended up getting the SAG because of it.
Yeah, you told me Bill Murray was really nice to you. He was
great. He's funny. I know people complain about him, but he was great to me.
Yeah, well,
there's nobody greener.
Yeah, I told you I listened to the David Spade, Dana Carvey, Fly on the Wall podcast, and they're going into detail about all the skits, and I'm like, that show sounds terrifying and such hard work. But you were saying that's for the main guys like that.
Yeah, all I had to do was get into costume and sit there. And is it Dan Wilson or Don Wilson or Tom Wilson? The director had me repeat my line 4 times. I've done plays and stuff, and I'm like, what, are you kidding me? He goes, Craig, you know your line? Yeah, let's hear it. I go, sorry about the shirt. Everything else in the wash. He goes, okay, thanks. Now, what I didn't realize is later on in that show, they had another actor who froze in the dress rehearsal. He totally lost his line. So that's probably why they did that with me. But and then John Lovitz replaced him. They fired him. But no, it was good. Yeah, Bill Murray was so good to me. When we sat down, when we did the camera block, he was actually there. Kevin Nealon, who's on the show, was playing the other lawyer. He moved over, and for the camera block, he sat next to me. He was a nice guy. And when Bill Murray sat there with me, he goes, have we worked together before? And I'm like, oh, no. And then oh, yeah, come on, we worked together. I'm like, no, we really haven't. And then we're sitting there again, and out of nowhere, he's just doing this. Here comes Speed Racer. And then he points at me, and I went, he's a demon on wheels. He went, yeah. It was so random, but that's actually one of my favorite shows when I was a kid. So of course I know it. And
so you guys bonded.
We did kind of. And then when we're ready to go live or with a dress rehearsal, they go, as soon as one scene ends, we have to run and get into position and be ready for when the lights come up.
Right.
And we're sitting there getting ready. We're fixing up. And Bill gets next to me, goes, nervous? I'm like, no. And he goes, bull spit. Only he didn't say spit. Right. And yeah, it was a fun experience. And then I had to fight to get my contract to get into SAG because they wanted to downgrade me because the sketch got canned. I fought and got it. And they said, well, you'll get it, but they won't use you again. I'm like, all right. But they did. 10 years later, I was on with Chris Farley. Did
you meet him?
Yeah.
Was he nice? Very
quiet.
Really?
What happened was we were doing a thing about, remember the sketch, The Bears? Remember that? The Bears. That was the last time they did that sketch. And there was a scene where he and George Wendt dressed like Dennis Rodman. So they were almost like drag queens. And we're going to shoot that scene, and they come walking in dressed like that. And Chris is got the eyebrows, and he just looks at us. He goes, hello, boys. He's like, no. So we did that. I actually, the next year I was in a Mango sketch with David Duchovny and John Goodman.
Oh, David Duchovny. He's really smart, that guy.
I made him laugh.
You did?
I did. Because when the whole thing with Mango, it's something that Chris Kattan did this character, this weird dancing character named Mango.
Mango.
Do you know him? Mango. You're obsessed with him.
Yeah.
So when the scene opens, he's in a hospital bed, and we're all around him. I've got pajamas, and I have my arm in a sling, and we're going, Mango, 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 Mango. And the director's like, okay, but say when the nurse pushes you out, Anna Gasteyer, she's great. They push you out the door. Keep saying mango all the way out the door. Don't stop until the door closes. So we're going, so we're going mango, mango, and they're pushing us out. And we go out. I noticed in the one rehearsal when we go out the door, David Duchovny standing behind the door waiting to make his entrance.
Mm-hmm.
So we do it again. He's still there. I go, okay. So we're the last rehearsal. I'm going, mango, mango, mango. When I get to the door, I go, mango, mango, Mulder, mango, mango. And he just cracked up. I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to get fired for cracking up. But yeah.
But you didn't, right?
No, he was really cool. But he laughed. He thought it was funny that I broke in like Mulder.
That is funny. So,
yeah.
So when did you move out to LA?
2001. It's actually 23 years ago this week.
Wow, congratulations.
I left New York August 28th, 2001.
And we were
September 2nd.
Yeah, we were talking earlier how, you quit acting or you thought you were going to quit acting. And then did you actually quit or did you just take a little break?
I jumped off the hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I was sick and tired of being sent out for impossible auditions I was never going to get, auditions I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I have a big star mentality with a no frills resume. And I really do, because it's one of these things like, okay, you're going to play Santa Claus and throwing rocks at kids. No, I don't want to do that. What do you mean you don't want to do that? No, doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah.
Don't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a real audition. I did make that up, but no, I was getting sent to like Santa Monica at 4:30 on a Friday night to audition for something I had no chance of getting.
Right.
It was just it was happening over and over again. It was just getting, I told the story before to you, but I'll do it here, where they actually sent me to be a surfer with 3 18-year-olds. You got these 3 guys who look like they're on Boy Meets World. Then you got me. I'm like, where do I fit? Well, and I go, yeah, dude, let's why am I even being read for this? And it's like, and it says 25 to 50.
Right.
What? It's just crazy. And I also was sent to a lot of, because I'm heavy set and because I'm bigger, I would get to a lot of auditions that would exploit the fact that I'm heavy, right, and not in a positive way. Playing in my own sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm spoiled. I'm totally spoiled by it because it's safe, it's fun. I get to do what I want. I make the decisions, and I can always, and even at that, I let the guest actors who I bring in, I pretty much let them be funny. I have the show to be funny. So
you want them to be funny, right? You want everyone to be funny.
Yeah, that's what I get from Carol Burnett.
Yes, we were talking
we talked about Carol Burnett was wonderful because she would let a lot of other people be funny. Jack Benny too. Let them be funny, and I'll react to it. And I think that's the cool thing to do.
Yeah. On your show, you're kind of more the straight man a little bit, don't you think?
Never straight, gaily forward.
You're vertical.
No, I mean, I do tell some jokes, but a lot of times I'm reacting to the wacky characters.
Right.
That come in, and I always act off put, like, what's this, like in my first show of my new season, I'm doing hot chicken, and a guy in a chicken costume comes in with a cigar going, hey, you want a hot chicken? Here I am. So I have to react to that kind of lunacy,
Actually, I tried one of your recipes. I'm trying to remember what
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. No, but it was good. It was the mashed potatoes,
with the cauliflower mashed potatoes?
What's the first part?
Cauliflower mashed potatoes?
Yeah. And it was actually good. I still have
They're real good.
Yeah.
You know what the secret is, right?
Tell me.
I told you this. You must have done it. The secret.
So long ago. I'm going to make it again.
You put in like a quarter cup of mashed potato flakes.
Yes, and I have them. I still have them.
Yeah. And what it does is if people are afraid of tasting cauliflower,
right,
it erases that, and you think these are mashed potatoes. These are amazing. It's good.
Yeah, because carbs are my downfall. I love carbs.
Mine too. No, I breads and sugars. I'm really doing well with it now, but I one of the reasons why I'm still at this weight is I was cheating too much.
Oh no, you're telling me.
I'm
But
losing weight again now, though. I really am. My pants were falling off yesterday. I was in the car.
oh my gosh, good thing nobody saw that.
Oh no, it was loaded with people. They were very embarrassed for me.
But it sounds like Off the Cuff is you're really, really loving this show, you know?
Somebody called it my hobby the other day because I really don't make a lot of money off of it. I do have Patreons, you know,
Yes.
but you know, it really, I'm always looking for more
Yeah.
because yeah. So I make a little bit of money from it, but it really is a passion, something I do for passion and enjoyment. Um,
And
Classified as a hobby is kind of fair, but not entirely inclusive.
yeah, I would say but it's professional because you are making a little bit of money and you made it SAG. We were talking
It's
about,
SAG, yeah, yeah. I can hire SAG actors now, and they can do the show. The only bad thing is if I hire somebody who's not SAG, they're not going to get points.
how
It's
come?
yeah, because it's SAG
Micro.
budget.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's not it's SAG signatory, but it's not a SAG production, which is going to give you points towards getting into SAG.
I know. And you're so great about getting everything on IMDb, because the shows that I did for you, you're always like, you're really good about listing all that.
Yeah, no, that's the least I can do. At one point, I had really no money. I said, "Hey, you'll get credit and IMDb credit."
Mhm. But
That's all I
now
have to do.
you're actually paying people a little bit of
I'm
money.
actually paying people enough to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, a cup of
Hey,
coffee.
coffee's expensive. I'm paying people enough to fill up their tanks with gas. That's about as much.
Right, it's their stipend, right?
But it's better than nothing. I mean, have I done jobs for like $25? Yes.
I think you worked on a movie I produced for I think I paid you about $30. Remember?
It was $8 in a Hershey bar. I remember
And that's how you met our mutual friend Jeff Kirschner.
Jeff Kirshner. Yeah. No. Can I say the name?
What?
Leaving Tom Ficus or
No,
leaving
searching for
searching for Ron Ficus. That's it.
Ron Ficus. Yeah, that actually the movie actually had a kind of a sad ending because the two producers, me being one of them, kind of we went.
Right of ways. I still have the clip though.
I know, it's on IMDb, and I think she used it for something. I
She
don't
sent it to me too. Yeah, I remember doing that. That was really interesting. That's but I knew you before that, right?
Yeah, we'd known each other before, but and then we have our other mutual friend Mike Mendola
Right. We knew each other through Mike before that. That's right. But
and Sharon.
Sharon, you actually, I remember you raced Mike in a parking lot once. That was fun. Uh,
Oh, running.
he, he claims he did poorly because he was in flip flops, but
He lost to a girl.
yeah, it couldn't be the fact that you were faster. It had to be that he was wearing flip flops. Okay, fine.
Oh, I don't even remember that, but I'm glad you
I
do.
do. I remember that place was screwy.
Yeah.
But no, it's so we've known each other for a while. Jeff is now up in Oregon.
Yeah.
Jeff is the producer of my show because he helped me a lot. He helped me. He gave me my first software for editing this show, and he kind of taught me the basics. And now it's kind of like, um, he created a monster. I'm getting really good at doing editing and stuff.
I know, and you like it. It sounds like
I
you
love it.
really. Oh,
Yeah, I love editing because it's the only thing I can do in my life where I get lost in it and I forget to eat. It's really true. It'd be like 9 hours. I'm like, why am I so hungry? Oh, I've been doing this for 9 hours. That'll do it.
that's so funny. That's good to know because I know you want other things to edit. So I'm sure I'm going to need you.
Oh, sure. I love editing. I just have I started off editing comedy videos that we shot on regular videotape back in the late or early 90s. And I
Right?
used to edit machine to machine. I don't know if you ever did that.
No.
I had a small 8 millimeter VCR that had a flying erase head. So that way you could do clean cuts. And I
Oh.
would cut all these videos for a comedy show we were doing.
Mhm.
And they're on YouTube. They're really old, but they're there. And I don't know. Editing is just something in another life. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, I know. Well, you can still do it. I mean, like you said, you're trying to get more people that you can edit for.
Well, I'll tell you what's amazing about editing. I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday. That when you're on stage, you control everything. You control the timing, you control the reactions, you control everything.
Mhm.
When you're in a film or a video, you can do your best line, you can do your best reading, but it's really up to the editor to do the timing. If you don't have a good editor, it's going to be crap.
Sure.
But when you have an editor who understands timing, and they can also, on the other side, if you have a crappy performance, you can make it shine through editing.
That's what I heard Martin Scorsese always talks about. Thelma Schumacher, I think her name is. And he's always saying, like, he goes, I wouldn't have the movies I have without her. He always works with her, you know? And Al
It's really true. I mean, I've learned that. I'm not going to give any names here. My friend was in a movie,
Mhm,
and the person who was in the movie with him, actually, he was one of the leads,
mhm,
was horrible,
mm, mhm,
terrible, made horrible choices.
mhm,
Couldn't do a reaction shot.
mhm.
Every reaction shot was like this.
Mugging.
Worked way too hard. Yeah. So what the director did without him knowing is he had the camera on him when nothing was going on. So he's like this. And he used that in the edit
Mm.
instead of and made and he made this actor who was really throwing away the whole performance. He made him more credible
Mm.
by doing that.
That's really great that he could do that, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't say much for the person who was doing and here's the thing. The person who was mugging is a successful acting teacher in LA now.
Ah.
I won't say the name. I can't. My friend would kill me if it's his name.
I understand. Yeah, as we were saying earlier, it's
But
like
yeah,
all
it's interesting to know that editors, directors, man, lighting people, anybody behind the scene, they all contribute to make your performance on camera. On
I-
stage, it's a little bit different.
stage, it's all I love doing plays. I know we talked about this earlier, but it's like I love doing plays. It's like because I love that live feedback, you know. I come alive when I do live. I love doing small plays, but it's just it takes a lot of time and it doesn't pay very well,
I
you know.
stopped. My last play was The Odd Couple. I did it at the Norris Theater in Palos Verde or
Mhm,
Rolling Hills Estates, actually.
mhm,
I did, and it was a professional production. It
mhm,
was wonderful. We got paid well,
mhm.
and that's the last show I've done.
Yeah.
It's a 15 years, and the reason is I've had offers. I actually had Glendale Center Theater
Mhm,
reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to play Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof,
mhm,
which I would love to do,
mhm.
but they pay $5 a show and no money for rehearsal, and you rehearse for 3 months.
What do they expect?
And I'm like, no.
All PS.
And when they're charging $40 a seat,
Right.
pay your talent. And I didn't want to be you know, I don't want to work that hard for a $35 check, whatever, $50 check. I don't know how many performances they do, but
When you did To Kill a Mockingbird out in Thousand Oaks, when I saw you, were you getting paid for that? I don't remember.
no.
Oh, okay. So it's
I
like,
did that because my friend Brian Harris was directing it. I had just did a show with him at the Secret Rose Theater on Magnolia
I
Boulevard.
love that theater.
Nice little theater.
Is it still, I don't
He
know
was
if
filming.
is it still around?
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, the last time I passed it was there. I It was Laughed on the 23rd Floor, which is based on your shows with Sid Caesar and Imogene Coca.
We were talking about that earlier.
And I played Max Prince, who was the Sid Caesar character. And I had such a great experience working with Brian in that show. He called me and asked me if I wanted to play a racist bastard in To Kill a Mockingbird. And I went, okay.
But what I do want to really tell my listeners is how they can find you off the cuff. How do they find you?
If you just type into Facebook off the kelf,
Off the cuff.
you won't find me because that's not the name. You'll find Jim Kelf, who actually raises horses to stud in Nebraska.
Or not off the kelp, because we don't want
But
any
off the cuff, off the couch, which JD Vance never does. Anyway, it's off the
bum bum.
It's Off the Cuff, Healthy Cooking with Craig Mitchell. You can find me on Facebook. On Facebook, it's my page. You'll have every episode I've ever done. I do recommend watching seasons 5 through 7, and then go back and watch the earlier ones.
Oh yeah, because the earlier ones are not so good, but worth.
The earlier ones, you'll see me learning and stumbling and learning, but there's good stuff in all of them.
Yeah.
But if you want to stream it on Roku on your TV, go to the Strong Island Entertainment app. And if you want to see me on YouTube, go to Strong Island Entertainment and all of their shows. They have a whole roster of shows there, including mine. And they have all 35 of my half-hour-long episodes.
That's awesome.
And go to TikTok and see 10-second jokes. It's the number 10. It's at the number 10 second jokes. You'll see 5 jokes a week, guaranteed. You never heard before.
And I always put this below the video anyway. I'll put all your stuff. So what season was I on Off the Cuff? What season was
I think you were in season 3 and 4.
So I was in the learning ones, huh?
No, 3 and 4 I actually started to find my way into doing the comedy. I actually created comedy sketches for that. In 1 and 2, I kind of felt that out a little bit, but in 3 and 4, that's when I really started. Like you were in the second one in the 4th season, which I'd love to do again. It was during the pandemic, and I was at my fattest. I can't watch our episode because I'm so fat in that episode.
Do a redo, like a remake, part 2 of that episode.
We could. It was called My Mother the Carb, which of course is a takeoff on the show, My Mother the Car, where the guy's mother is a car, but you were a loaf of bread. And you're like, I'm so glad you almost made French toast with me last night. I'm like, I'm sorry, Ma. You know.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, those carbs are toast. Sorry again, Mom.
It's okay, son. It reminds me of your father.
Can you believe I played the annoying New Yorkie type neighbor, and then I played a loaf of bread? Who says I don't have range? Right?
That's range, and it was low carb homemade bread. Pretty good. Well, I loved how I made the bread talk, because on the TV show the radio would light up when she would talk.
Right.
So what I did is I had your recorded lines, and I took a can of compressed air, and you know the bread has a little stem that comes off when you tie it off. And I just plugged the stem, and the stem would move like this, and that would be it would be Craig, So
that you had to do, but yeah, I mean, to me, I'm so proud of you that you're doing so well with the editing and the producing and the writing. I mean, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's really satisfying to do all the writing. Like I brought this up before, but I got sidetracked. We're talking about writing scenes. My friend Dale's coming over. Dale Hoff, his name is. He's coming over tomorrow. We're going to film the scene where he's kind of godlike. I didn't have a scene. I kept thinking about it. And I sat in front of the empty page 3 nights ago and went, here we go. And 20 minutes later, I had a whole scene. I don't know where it comes from sometimes. It just spills out, but I'm glad it happens.
Yeah, that's the best way, though, when it just goes.
Well, that's experience from writing for Dwayne's class. I had to write, 2 scenes a week, and they just came out. So it's those muscles are used to working, I guess.
But I'm so glad you're doing all this. Like you said, your friend said it's a hobby, but it's not really a hobby. It's professional because you are making money. But it's such a great outlet for you, just all this stuff,
It's made me a much more confident performer. I'm not afraid to do anything at this point because I have a lot of self-confidence. In the past, since I reinvented my act in 2016, I feel I'm the funniest I've ever been at this point. I just don't feel burdened down. I can stand up with seasoned professional comics and I don't feel like I'm out of my league. And this is a compliment. I got to meet and become friends with a comedian I've admired for over 30 years. She's going to hate that I said that, but it's true. Her name is Wendy Liebman. She is a brilliant comic. She's so funny. And what she does is she has this thing on her Facebook page. She has like little joke telling Because she calls it joke telling prompts, where she'll give you the straight line and you have to write punchlines to it, just for an exercise for fun.
Good exercise.
Yeah, like, it's like, I went to the doctor and he gave me a stress test, and and then you write the punchline, and so I think for that one, I went to the doctor and he gave me a stress test, and I said, and he's making me pay all my bills in advance now, you know, you know, um, whatever. But every now, a lot of times she'll pick one of the responses and go winner, winner,
Hmm.
and she picks me a lot, and that makes me feel. I mean, somebody who I really look up to, respect, and admire as a comic, thinking I'm funny. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. Well, you are funny. I remember getting back to that movie that we did, the Ron Ficus movie, and just your reaction shot. I remember I was like, your face. It was you weren't even trying to be funny, and it was just like, meh.
I do have a funny face.
I know. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for coming on again, and I know I always bug you. Bring me back on the show, your show. So
I'm producing. I have 5 episodes blocked out. And I'm doing.
not an efficiency person. You said.
I'm doing that. I have to see how that forms. I haven't. I got the idea when I was driving this weekend. I'm doing 18 episodes this year, so there's plenty more coming down. We can write something. And you'd be a good efficient. Could you have like big glasses?
Yeah, I have them somewhere around here.
Huge glasses. You could be like efficient, but you got to be like, you got to be like, you got to really rake me over the coals. So
I know. Yeah, okay, I got it.
I haven't written it yet. I have no idea where we're going with it. So
no, I will rake you over the coals. I'll be so uptight.
yeah, uptight and not amused by anything.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. So anyway, we told everybody where they can find you. And when's your next episode of Off the Cuff coming out?
November 3rd. We're still. It's Craig's Hot Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Debuts on all those platforms we told you about November 3rd. Then on November 17th, the Thanksgiving episode.
Mm.
Yeah, where I make sugar-free pumpkin pie and I make a low-carb green bean casserole.
Ooh. Oh, that sounds really good.
Which is a staple. I've never made it before. I eat it for the first time on camera.
Really?
I do.
Oh my gosh! Well, we're all waiting with baby.
You'll have to. Well, I'll give you a hint. I gave the rest of the green bean casserole to my neighbor who loved it and ate the whole pumpkin pie. Not in one sitting, but I ate the whole one. So
wow.
It's a little hint, a little preview.
Hey, congratulations on keeping this your 7th season. I think that's great.
I can't believe it's 7 years. When I look at it on IMDb, I'm like 7 seasons. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like I said earlier, I visualize you at CBS Radford.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a great place.
It's so close to where you live, just
the guys who do Will and Grace.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the episode. They have a new sitcom coming out.
They do?
It's Matt Bomer, Nathan Lane, Linda Lavin, and
oh, that's a good cast.
It's kind of like Golden Girls for Men.
With Linda Lavin playing someone.
I don't know. I don't. That's what somebody said, but I think they're filming that at Radford.
Wow, I love that set because I think Valerie Bertinelli did something there.
Oh, Hot in Cleveland.
Oh yeah, Hot in Cleveland. I loved that show. I went to a couple episodes.
Yeah, Hot in Cleveland. She probably. Well, I don't know whether it One Day at a Time. That was probably at CBS because that was Norman Lear.
I don't know about that one, but
All in the Family. All in the Family did CBS. The old. I don't think it's CBS anymore. I think it's gone. But the CBS building on. I forget the street. Was it Melrose? I don't even remember.
Oh, the one you're talking about Beverly, but Fairfax area. Right?
Yeah. That CBS building they sold. I don't think it's CBS anymore. But that's where they filmed All in the Family. That's where they filmed One Day at a Time.
And I think Bill Maher did his show there. Maybe he still does.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, because I went to a couple tapings of his show, and it was there. And
I think you're right. Yep, I think so. I don't know if they're still. I don't even know if it's still there anymore. Hope so. It's part of history.
Oh, I know. It's so sad.
Every time I pass the old NBC studios in Burbank, I get really sad because it's no longer.
Oh,
NBC.
Really?
Yeah, that's where they did the original Johnny Carson. Out here, it's not NBC anymore.
You mean where Jay Leno worked for all those years too? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, Jay Leno was there too.
Oh.
Then when Conan came in, they left there and they shot at Universal.
Mhm. Wow.
Yep.
That's
I know way too much of this back stuff.
All right, dear. Well, listen, have a great rest of the evening, and I hope you have a good shoot tomorrow. Are you actually shooting tomorrow?
I'm shooting the God sketch tomorrow, although it's called The Man Upstairs.
Okay. Well, have fun.
Thanks.
Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.